All right, so you're thirsty, huh? And not for just any drink. You want it ice cold or... We're diving deep into the Silonn IceMaker, this countertop contraption that's got everyone talking. Is it the real deal? You came to the right place to find out.
We've been sifting through more Amazon reviews than I'd like to admit, folks, trying to separate the marketing BS from whether this thing is actually worth your hard-earned cash.
First up, this bad boy promises 9 ice cubes in 6 minutes. 9.
Yeah, you heard that right. And it doesn't stop there. Supposedly churns out a whopping 26 pounds of ice every single day.
Okay, that's a lot of ice. Like enough to build a goddamn igloo.
Okay.
But hold your horses. They're also really pushing this whole 2 ice sizes thing, right? Small bullet ice, bigger cubes.
Yeah, for all your sipping needs, apparently.
But is that for real? Like, is there actually a noticeable difference in size? Or is that just some marketing BS?
Good question. And honestly, the reviews are all over the place. Some folks saying, yeah, totally a gem, and others like, nah, it's all the same to me.
Okay, so not exactly conclusive. And speaking of melting moments, how fast does this ice actually melt?
Again, mixed reviews. Some complaining about watery drinks, others saying it's no worse than usual. So.
All right, so we got to dig into that a bit more. But hey, even if it melts fast, there's more to life than just, how long your ice lasts. What about the noise situation with this thing? That's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody wants one of those things that sounds like a frickin' airplane taking off in their kitchen, right?
Right.
Silonn says this thing is whisper quiet, though, like 35 decibels, which is supposedly about as loud as a fridge humming along.
35 decibels?
Yeah.
That doesn't really mean much to me. Is that like library quiet or like can still hear your thoughts quiet?
Okay, so I had to look this up, too, but 35 decibels is actually pretty darn quiet. Things like a quiet library, rustling pages, that kind of vibe.
Okay, all right, not bad. But are people actually saying that in the reviews? Or are they, like, complaining about a symphony of weird noises?
It's a mixed bag, honestly. You've got some folks saying it's as quiet as a church mouse, while others are complaining about, like, constant humming or this weird gurgling sound.
Gurgling. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and a few even mentioned a rattling sound, especially during certain parts of the ice making cycle.
Rattling. Dude, that's how my last ice maker died. Started with a rattle, and then it just went kaput.
Yikes. Yeah, so it seems like the noise level, it could depend, maybe some manufacturing variations or, just how sensitive you are to sounds in general.
Yeah, that's true. Some people hear everything.
Yep.
All right, so noise situation, check. But let's say it's not too bad, and you actually want to, like, use this thing.
Yeah.
How user-friendly is it? They make it sound as easy as, like, fill it up, press a button, and boom, ice.
On the surface, yeah, they're really pushing the whole easy-peasy angle. Simple controls, easy to choose your ice size, indicator lights, all that jazz.
Okay, I mean, I'm down with simple. Ain't nobody got time to read a manual just to make some ice. But here's the real kicker. The make or break for any appliance as far as I'm concerned. Cleaning. Be honest. How bad is it?
Okay, so get this. This Silonn IceMaker, it claims to be self-cleaning.
Wait, hold up. Self-cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
Like it cleans its own insides.
That's what they're saying. You hold down a button for 5 seconds, it flushes the system with water.
Okay, that sounds like some kind of black magic to me.
Yeah.
But does it actually work? Like, will it get rid of that nasty mineral buildup?
Well, the reviews, they're kind of split on this one. Some people are like, it's a miracle, this thing cleans itself. But others are saying it's more like a light rinse, like you still got to get in there and scrub every now and then.
So not exactly hands-free, but better than nothing, I guess. Okay, but let's get real here. Durability. Because if I'm going to drop my hard-earned cash on this thing, I want it to last longer than a goddamn TikTok trend,
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? And this is where things get a little hairy, because the Amazon reviews, they are wild. You've got people saying this IceMaker is a lifesaver, the best thing since sliced bread, and then you've got others saying it's flimsy, breaks down all the time, total waste of money.
So what's the deal? Is this thing built to last or what?
Honestly, it's tough to say. The most common complaints we saw were broken parts, leaks, motor giving out. Not exactly reassuring.
Not exactly. Those are kind of major issues.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, any product can have its share of duds, right? Some people might have just gotten unlucky.
True, true. But still, something to think about, especially since this isn't exactly like a high-end appliance we're talking about. Speaking of which, this Silonn thing, it's going for like $85 on Amazon, even less if you find a used one.
Yeah.
So is it worth the risk? $85, that's like, what, 2 cocktails at a fancy bar these days?
Pretty much.
So is this Silonn thing the happy hour deal of ice makers, or are we going to be left with a hangover?
It's a tough call. I mean, on paper, it sounds great, right? Fast ice, 2 different sizes, self-cleaning thingamajig, all for under $100. But then you got those durability issues, like, are you cool with potentially having to replace this thing every few months?
Right, right. And then you're stuck with a broken ice maker, a puddle of water, and a serious case of buyer's remorse.
Exactly. So you got to weigh the risks and rewards. And speaking of risks, let's talk about that whole planned obsolescence thing.
Ooh, yeah, get all conspiracy theory on us. What are we thinking?
Okay, so they're basically giving these things away, right? $85. They got to know that some of them are going to crap out. But what if that's like part of the plan? What if they're counting on people having to buy a new one every year?
Damn, that's kind of messed up. But also, like, good business sense, if you think about it.
Right. It's the name of the game these days. Make it cheap, make it break. People buy a new one. And who loses out? Us, the consumers, not to mention the planet with all that e-waste.
Okay, yeah, not so cool. All right, so final verdict time. We've heard the good, the bad, and the ugly about this Silonn ice maker. What's the score? 1 to 10, 1 being total garbage, 10 being the holy grail of ice makers.
After all that, I'm going to have to go with a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5, huh? That's kind of middle of the road. Break it down for us.
It's tough, man. It does seem to do what it says, makes ice pretty quickly, relatively quietly. The 2 sizes are kind of cool, and the self-cleaning thing is a bonus. But those durability concerns, they're a real buzzkill.
Yeah, those are some red flags for sure. So, bottom line for all of our thirsty listeners out there, is this Silonn ice maker worth the gamble?
I mean, if you're on a tight budget and you absolutely need a countertop ice maker, like yesterday, maybe give it a shot. But do your research, read the reviews, good and bad. Or, maybe spend a little extra, get something a bit more reliable.
Or, hey, here's a thought. Stick with the classics, your freezer's ice tray. Might not be as fancy, but it gets the job done. And no risk of it breaking down after a month.
There you go. Back to basics.
All right, folks, that's the lowdown on the Silonn ice maker. Stay thirsty, my friends.